Hi, I'm Ren.
I'm Sam.
I'm Tosh.
And
we're
we're
the
the
T Swift sisters.
Welcome back to the T Swift Sisters podcast, a Taylor Swift fan podcast for Swifties by Swifties. In today's episode, we're talking Bleachella 2.0 and the Tortured Poets Department release week. Here's this week's Swift Scoop. So I think the perfect place to start off with this week's episode is Samantha's Roman Empire. Truly could not believe that this was happening. I think we should start maybe with like Coachella day one. We had Sabrina Carpenter perform. She performed all of her amazing hits and Espresso, her new single that just came out. So I was really excited to see her do that. And then of course we had Lana. But before Lana came on, there were so many rumors circulating that Taylor was going to do like a surprise performance with Lana. Did you hear about those?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing either, but there's a TikToker that I follow. Her name is Meme, and she's at Coachella. She usually goes like with the influencer trips and all of that stuff, and she's a Swiftie. And I saw like a video on my feed, and she's like, oh my God, there's rumors Taylor's gonna be here. She's performing with Lana, like freaking out. And I was like, oh my God. But then obviously we know that she didn't perform with Lana. So I was like, she's for sure not going to Coachella. You know, everybody was talking about how when Taylor attended Coachella in 2016, aka Bleachella, she was actually in the crowd with the other people, like like just part of the audience. And everybody collectively was like, we'll never get this from Taylor again. Like, she could never do that. It's her level of fame, X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, it just takes us all the way to Bleachella 2.0, or what is now they're coining, I guess, since her hair is not bleached, Taychella, which honestly, I'm super good with either one. But I just wanted to set you up, Sammy, so you could take us full speed in. How do you feel? Like, can I ask you that first? How do you feel?
I geeked out, really. You know how I feel about Bleachella. And if, there's no more fans, if there's one fan of Bleachella, it's me. If there's no more fans, I'm dead. So this was taking me way back. I loved seeing it. As you know, we saw her out and about this weekend at the festival. We saw her with Travis, full of PDA, sweet moments. We love to see it. She was there for the Bleacher set and to see Ice Spice perform as well. So love how supportive she is. But also the first thing that I thought of, first thing being the backwards cap. But after that, I also thought I love seeing her being able to do these things and coming out of the cocoon that she was in when she was in hiding in a sense, tucked away in her last relationship. This is like the epitome of a comeback because that was such a peak. Bleachella was her, with no inhibitions, doing it all. And we're getting a sense of that again. And I love it. It's kind of like rediscovering her old self and just having fun. You can tell she was having a blast. Love the moment where Travis lifted her.
Yes.
Yes. That's our girl having a small girl moment. Okay. And I love her for that. So that was great. What were your thoughts? I want to know what you guys thought about that.
Can we start with your thoughts on the backwards baseball cap? I'm surprised you brought it up. Like, what kind of cultural impact did it have for you?
Oh my gosh, the casual, informal, laid back, I'm here for a good time, not a long time vibe. Yes. It wasn't with Coachella, there comes, the outfits, the pressure on the fashion,
the aesthetic of it.
Yes. The festival fashion in the desert. It's a very specific aesthetic. But you know what? She was there in her, I think she was wearing boots, right? And like a Louis Vuitton bag, backwards cap. He was wearing a Happy Gilmore baseball cap too. Loved that for them. They were just there to have a good time.
And loved that the hat was his podcast. Like the fact that she was repping the New Heights hat at Coachella, where, like you said, it's like such a fashion forward moment. Like we love it. She's literally just living her best life, having a good time.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say the same thing because we have the black on black on black, right? we have the black top, the black shorts, the black sneaks, the black bag, and then the hat now becomes the moment. It is the statement piece because it's green, and she's here to let everybody know, like, back off. I'm here with my mans, and I rep my mans. I am a New Heights girly swirly, and all I could think of is like maybe one day when Taylor discovers our podcast and we also are big enough that we can have merch, maybe one day she's out there repping a Teas of Sisters podcast hat. You never know.
Coachella 2025.
No, but I just absolutely loved when I first saw them in the crowd. I thought that she was actually in the audience. And I was like, I remember being like, oh my God, these people are being so normal. And like they're next to Taylor Swift, but it was literally Sabrina Carpenter standing in front of her. Like that's why, like that's Sabrina Carpenter's everyday life. So like, you know, but she was actually in the pit closest to the stage. I loved that Ice Spice gave her the shout out and then actually played Karma. Like there has to be something so fulfilling for Taylor Swift to be in a crowd where somebody else is like playing her music. Go off, queen. And then I do also want to bring up, the dog. Did you guys see the dog that met Taylor Swift?
No.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to insert it on this. Like right now, if you guys are watching the YouTube version of it, it'll come in here and we'll post. You can't tell me that that dog is not all of us if we met Taylor Swift.
It's the eyes for me. And look at her looking like a Barbie.
No, I know, she looks amazing.
I was having a conversation with Adrian, that's my boyfriend for those of you who don't know, and I was like, why is she literally AI in this picture? Like she looks fake. She looks literally fake. Like how is she real, a real human being? But that dog is literally all of us if we ever met Taylor Swift. For our audio only listeners, the dog is like literally the widest eyeballs ever. Like, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Taylor.
Us staring at Ticketmaster trying to get Eras Tour tickets.
No, literally.
Love that. This was a whole moment. And shout out to Lana because she looked amazing and sounded amazing. So glad that they were both there for this event this weekend.
Did you watch her set, Lana's?
Of course.
I only watched one person's set and it was not her. It was young Miko.
I was going to say young Miko, I bet. I actually did. I haven't seen any content from Lana's. I also only watched one person. So I'm glad that we all watched one person because we made our own little Coachella. Mine was obviously Sabrina Carpenter, who was iconic. She absolutely slayed.
I love how we all had a different person to watch too. Very us.
Love.
I can't with them. I honestly, for the near future, if we keep posting pictures of Travis and Taylor at Coachella, just, you know, mind your business. Okay.
Keep scrolling.
For the rest of 2024, the content will be there. And also just like the fact that she's comfortable enough again to be able to do that. When, like Sammy said, we really thought like after Eras Tour, especially, like you can never do that. Like, you're way too famous. Like, no, you're not. You just proved that you can be normal and do what you want to do with the person you love. Like, that's precious.
Yeah. I think it also says a lot about the last relationship that she was in, because I think that we all collectively thought that she was either in agreement or like maybe the one that did not want to do stuff like this. And now seeing her do it again and the way that she's like embracing the change and like living her best life, truly, I think it just says a lot about where she was or might have been and kind of the unfolding of the story that we're going to totally get in Tortured Poets this week.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, we can talk about how our life is about to change this week, how this is the last podcast recording before the release of Tortured Poets Department. How are we feeling?
Woo!
Honestly, like I was truly feeling good until Taylor posted that lyric. What is it that she said? I wish I could unrecall how we almost had it all. I was like, oh, okay. So it actually is going to be this kind of album. Like now I'm like already on the verge of tears. I think it's definitely going to be like, it's going to be a lot, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That line is giving like Adele Rolling in the Deep.
Okay.
Like that vibe, you know, Yeah, we're going in an emo direction here.
To me, I immediately thought of You're Losing Me. I was like, I feel like it's gonna be like the same kind of I truly think that it's gonna be, and that's something that I wanted to ask you guys, kind of like a last day prediction, the album that you think Tortured Poets is gonna be closest to, like maybe sound the most similar to. I think we can say 2 albums. I'll give it that. Like let's pick 2 albums. For me, it's going to be somewhere in between Red and Midnights. I think it's going to have like the storytelling of Red with the sounds of Midnights, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Mine was going to be Folklore and Midnights.
Okay.
Same for same reason. Because
Okay.
storytelling lyrically, like dictionary necessary, like Folklore, but then Sound of Midnight.
Okay. Okay. What are you thinking, Sammy?
Mine was going to be Evermore and Midnight.
Look at us go.
So
for the same reason?
Of course.
So we all think it's going to be just like poetically deep. Oh, wow. And then like probably poppy is like more of the sound it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it's like giving like the complete opposite.
It's giving Fearless.
No, but I want us to also think about what do we think is going to be, let's think of like the saddest song on the album, and then maybe not necessarily like happiest, but like pop ballady glitter gel pen song, if that makes sense.
I'm excited to do this because I love comparing our predictions once the album already comes out and like how far off we were.
I was going to say it's literally only fun because we're always 100% wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for us.
I think we can all agree.
Mm-hmm.
Track 5, So Long London. We already know the vibe just based on past track 5. So that is going to be a sad song. So Long London, we all can agree on. So we're going to pick other songs that we think are going to be those sad, depressy songs. Okay, I think The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is going to be very sad and slow. Mm-hmm. Are we all going to say our sad, or do I say my pop ballad?
I actually chose the same one as what I thought was going to be the saddest.
That was my runner-up. I ended up actually choosing I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I don't know why. Ooh. It was giving sad for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Thank you. Okay, pop ballad. Yes. We're thinking like also guys in terms of, I know that you don't all like maybe think on the same wavelength that we do. Like we know each other very well. So when we say one thing, we automatically know what we're thinking of. But for you guys listening at home, we're thinking of like the next Blank Space, Shake It Off, Karma, like that just absolute pop ballad single kind of thing.
I don't know if I'm that confident.
No. Same.
Like right now when you defined it, I was like, ooh, is that what I think?
Okay, so give what you chose and then like your reasoning behind why you maybe think that one is just like, or like what, if it's not like a Blank Space, Karma, like which one you think it will be closest to?
I think I strictly chose mine because of punctuation.
Okay.
So Florida. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. It's giving pop, it's giving yelling, upbeat. Mm-hmm. But I also runner up / like why I questioned it was because I feel like the Tortured Poets department might be like single worthy and it might be like poppy because it's, you know, the name of the album. So
yeah. Great point, Tosh. I chose Who's Afraid of Little Me.
Okay. What do you think?
I just feel like it could be like storytelling, but like in a pop kind of upbeat way. I just feel like it could surprise us.
Okay.
Hearing the album and it's the depressing one.
Mine was like random. I feel like it was another one that just spoke to me, but I chose Down Bad. I don't know. It was giving like maybe Don't Blame Me vibes, you know?
That was my runner up.
Yeah, I chose Down Bad. And then I think if I have to choose a runner up, I'm going to say I just had it. Oh, Fresh Out the Slammer. I don't know why that's also giving could be poppy.
Yeah,
I'm excited
I
for that
agree.
one.
I'm excited, honestly, for all of them.
Ren, you said in one of the last episodes that you also thought Down Bad was going to be poppy, so you're sticking to it because I remember you saying that.
Okay, subconscious, go off.
Consistency, baby.
That's right. Nice. What are you guys thinking for the additional songs? So we have the manuscript, the albatross, the bolter, and the black dog. First, notice that they all start with the word the.
Like the album?
Yeah, like the extra song. So we have the 4 variants and then, or you're saying like the word the, like the album title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making bracelets this weekend and I picked it up and I was like, that's so, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like Taylor's up to something with that, I feel like. Maybe they're all like connected in some way, like in a storyline kind of thing.
Right. I was about to say it sounds like almost assigning characters or roles in, like you said, in a storyline.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere too that the manuscript, if you read it as like the manuscript from the desk of Taylor or whatever, it's like her creating this character, this man. And like, I don't know, I kind of dove really deep into it, but it wasn't that as deep as like when I first read it, I was like, the manuscript. I was like, oh yeah, the manuscript. That's all. Okay.
Okay, but I think I get what you're saying. Like the man that she has like created, like this man that she has put on this pedestal, like maybe the Delulu theories of it all, like what you expect from a man, and then kind of the Tortured Poets Department is everything that this man is not.
Right. And the manuscript was the first variant, right? And also like the man that we as Swifties scripted when they were dating, and then the last variant being the black dog, which is depression. It's like we went from putting him on a pedestal, like thinking that, they were it, to her, depressed. Like,
yeah,
it's just, it could be like a little timeline sort of.
Okay. What do you guys, and like, I hope our listeners don't take this the wrong way. I just, I think it's the topic of conversation with the album. But do you think that we're going to find out either why they broke up or like who broke up with who or like the final fight? Or do you think it's going to be like, and I'm sure it will be more theoretical in a sense, like it's going to have a lot of open endings because that's the way she does it so that it applies to multiple storylines. But like, do you think that if it's almost like if you read between the lines kind of thing, we're going to find something out?
I think it's going to give us what You're Losing Me gave us.
Okay.
Where like we can picture their feelings during it all, but it doesn't like give us an answer.
Okay. I'm just trying to think because like I obviously I'm not saying it in like anything bad or like, it's just theoretics. And I feel like it's also 7 years of a relationship, like it's a long time. And I feel like her other albums have shown so much of like who they were when they were first falling in love and like those kinds of things. I don't know, like, is it going to be but like as big of a peek behind the curtain as maybe like Reputation and Lover were? Because I felt like we got so much imagery and like you could really picture their relationship with those albums. But then like Midnight's was so 13 years of my life kind of thing that you couldn't just assume one was about whatever. But like, I feel like this album, we know kind of what it's going to be about.
I think, I don't think it would take as much deciphering because we know a lot of what happened and we know a lot of the events that occurred within their relationship. I think it takes on that storytelling sense by using these figures and like character names to allude to a person or to allude to a group of people or to lead to an event that happened, whether that was like we talked about the show in Tampa or, maybe the Tortured Poets Department being those group of friends that went through relationship struggles or relationship waves that she's been out hanging with. Is she considered like the bolter? Like, is that her character in the story? So I think it's almost like figuring out like who's assigned what role in the manuscript, I guess you can say. It's kind of like taking on a producer, director, writer role in the story of these past few years and laying it out in that form, which I think is super interesting. Who knows? Maybe we might have to do a little deciphering to figure out things that we didn't know happened, and we'll find out through this album.
Yeah,
I think we'll learn a lot.
I do think so too. I do think that it will take, though, like knowing Taylor as an individual, and like like you have to be a hardcore Swiftie almost, like to the untrained ear it's just another song, but to a Swiftie it is the story that we've been kind of looking for.
I was about to ask you that. How would newer Swifties, I guess, kind of grasp this album without having some sort of, not that obviously you can't read up on it or something, but like you just said, it's a lot to keep track of. It's someone that you're following for so many years. So it may come off differently, like the meaning behind the song or what's really being told. So it's an interesting perspective, like when you joined the fandom and how you're going to listen to the album, I think.
Yeah, I would say 100%, because like when Lover came out, obviously people who had been Swifties for a long time already knew kind of the beginnings of the relationship. We had seen Reputation evolve like from the very beginning. So it's now looking at it through the lens that we're looking at it as past, whereas somebody who might have only known about the relationship when they broke up or became a Swiftie during Folklore might not really know the beginnings. But I think if you are a newer Swiftie who's like trying to decode those messages, sorry, I didn't mean to bring Samantha into it. Decode. But all that to say that I think if you're a newer Swiftie who's like really trying, and for us too, because as much and as many years as we have been Swifties, so many things go over our head because it just, life happens and you're not a Swiftie every second of every single day looking into Easter eggs. And like maybe some of you are, and I love that. I wish that I had the time and also the knowledge. Like we have to give some of these Swifties so much credit that like something will come out and in 1 second it's already decoded and I'm like still trying to write down in my notepad what's going on. So with that, if you're a newer Swiftie and you're kind of looking for answers or like understanding the meanings, I would go to Twitter, honestly, and get involved in like the Swiftie fandom on Twitter, because people are absolutely so nice there and will truly help you understand things that don't really happen. I'm sure we're going to see a thread of every song and it's like real life meaning in Taylor's life kind of thing, if that makes sense. Like if I can do it with a broken heart, what is it called? But Daddy, I Love Him. If it's really like a Little Mermaid-esque song and it has to do with when Taylor dressed up as Ariel, like on Twitter is where you'll see like exactly what happened that basically created the song kind of thing. So I'm excited for that. Yes, they'll help connect the dots. Thank you. All of that could have just been so shortened by saying that one little sentence.
No, but it's helpful info to know for sure. And really quick, since, we're talking about what we can do, how we're going to celebrate it, our feelings about it, there are cool things happening on music platforms to celebrate the Tortured Poets Department release this week. I know Spotify today on April 15th released this like little video. It was like an exclusive clip of Taylor. You could hear her raspy little voice from post Coachella, which I love. But she basically said an interesting line where she said, keep checking back for more updates from the department. And it's just like, what are you hiding from us? What do you have for us? So Spotify released that. And I know Apple Music is doing like a hidden message where every day leading up to the day before the release, there's like a hidden sort of word or like capitalized letters in lyrics in all of the playlists that Taylor exclusively made with Apple Music. And so by the time this episode releases, we will know the phrase, the sentence that Apple Music and Taylor, I guess, worked on to kind of hype us up for the release of the album. So we love that.
Cries in Spotify.
Yep.
But actually, I do love, because we were kind of talking about this last week about the Apple Music playlist and everything and like what's going to happen on Spotify. The fact that she made the little video on Spotify tells us that like Spotify is not too much in the dark. And with that, actually today on the 15th, Taylor Nation and Spotify announced this library installation in LA. So I'm guessing like release week is going to be an LA thing and not a New York thing, if that makes sense. Like Taylor's been in LA for a minute and like she has not been back to New York. And this kind of installation that they're doing is something that they typically would do in New York for another album. So I'm going to say Tortured Poets is an LA album. And starting on the 16th, so that'll be yesterday for you guys listening, all the way through the 18th, so until tomorrow, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Grove in LA, there will be a Spotify library installation. It does say in the fine print that like it could get too packed and you might not get a chance to be there. So be aware. Like if it also says you can't go at like 9:30 and expect to get in, it opens at 10. And it makes a note too that the artist will not be in attendance. I would say definitely take that with a grain of salt. We know Taylor loves to just like show up and kind of surprise fans. So I'm not saying that she will be there, but I wouldn't say for certain that she won't, if you will. Because I think also at like the Grove Eras Tour movie premiere, for those who were not invited by Taylor Nation, their invitations also said like the artist will not be in attendance. And guess what? She was there. So
just sounds like so long New York in a way, because I feel like we haven't seen that, that New York attention in a minute. I don't know. That's where Cornelia Street lives.
True, Cornelia Street. And like, I feel like so much of the initial relationship was spent there, but I mean, also a lot of it was spent in London. And like, obviously we're going to have the song So Long London, but I wonder if it has to do with like, she's just closing that chapter in her life. And Taylor loves New York and like, she has so many friends there. So I don't know how it's different, but I don't know. She's like been in LA for a long time and she was like not really an LA girly for anything.
Sounds like we need to go back.
I was just about to say, I guess we need to go back to LA.
Say less.
But I mean, I guess this pretty much wraps up everything. And the last like truly final moments that we're going to be on the pod without Tortured Poets, like next week's episode is going to be such a whirlwind. I'm not prepared. I can't. But definitely, if you're listening to this pod, stay with us on socials. We're going to be live tweeting the album release. If you see me tweeting 800 pictures of myself on release night to Taylor Nation, scroll, mind your business again, okay? But like I said, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode of the T Swift Sisters podcast. Before we log off, please remember to follow us, our podcast, on your listening platform by clicking the plus button next to our show. Download your favorite episodes if you're going to be offline. Follow us on social media for live Taylor Swift news updates and so much more. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at T Swift Sisters Pod or Twitter at T Swift Sisters. We hope you've had your fill of all things Taylor Swift, and we will see you next week right here in the Tortured Poets department. Bye.